I'm here in case you succeed. I'm Colonel Jack O'Neill from General West's office. You understand this complicates things.
Dr. Jackson?
What is this all about?
Job. Translation. This is your chance.
Anybody has anything to say, now's the time to say it. Your job here is to realign the Stargate. Can you do that or not? I can't.
That's right, Jackson. It's on the other side of the known universe.
You're a linguist. Try to talk to him.
Hello. I'm Katie, and welcome to RetroMade, your pop culture rewind. Today, we're going to travel back to October of 1994 for the science fiction adventure movie that spurred a whole TV franchise, apparently, Stargate. And as always, we'll touch on all of the other happenings of the time in the time capsule. I am so happy today to be joined by Kevin and Eric from 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger podcast on the Last of the Action Heroes podcast network. I'm also on that network for a Rocky One More Round show. But thank you guys both for joining me. Please tell all of us more about you guys and your show.
Thanks for having us on. First of all, Katie, we're fans, and yeah, we share a lot of the same space on the Last of the Action Heroes podcast network. You can also find us on our own feeds too. I think we're on most of the podcast networks that are available. But what we do is take a deep dive into a lot of the movies that we grew up loving from like the golden age of action movies, like early 80s through mid to late 90s, the heyday of Stallone and Schwarzenegger. And who else? I mean,
Kurt Russell,
Bruce Willis. All the good stuff was coming out then before CG and PG-13 rated action sort of became like the norm. Also, Eric's running social media for us. So.
I do a little bit of that. We have an Instagram page, 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
No, not Bacon.
Oh my God, sorry. 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger. That was Freudian slipper.
But it's a play on that phrase.
It is,
great,
which is
right?
such a clever. I claim no credit for the name of the podcast. It's all this guy over here.
Yeah. Well, the movies are so incestuous. Incestuous from that time. Like the same guys and behind the camera and in front of the camera would turn up in the movies with each other over and over and over. So yeah, they all are sort of interconnected in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're at 6DOS podcast on like Instagram or Facebook. We just take a loving and funny, hopefully, look back at these movies.
Yeah, and because of the way we record it, we get slightly more inebriated the farther along into the episodes that you get, which gives it an interesting, fun vibe if you stick with us through the very end.
Yes. I'm drinking.
It's fabulous.
I'm drinking Russell's Reserve for Kurt Russell tonight.
Ooh, I love it.
It's not Kurt Russell's bourbon or anything, but
I guess you could say I'm drinking this hazy IPA because we're in a desert. It gets hazy in a desert.
Sure.
Does that work?
There you go. I like it. It does work. I'm a very big fan of the drinking during the podcast, but sadly, I only have water today. You guys will like this show. I promise you. And what I find is unique is that you do a movie. It's 5 episodes will cover a movie, so you don't feel rushed to get through it all, right? Did I get that right?
Oh, yeah. We do a really, really deep dive. I mean, scene by scene, and we intersperse it with trivia, factoids about what the movie's about, and just our own personal takes and anecdotes of where we were when we were watching these things.
My favorite is when we get way off topic and down these deep rabbit holes of other things that come to mind as we're discussing the movie. So I like your format on RetroMade in that way because you're looking at the other things that were going on in all of our lives at the times that the movies were out.
That's what I was going to say. It sounds very familiar. I like it. Well, to that point, you guys, this is actually the anniversary episode. RetroMade has now been around for a whole year.
Wow,
I kind of can't believe
congratulations.
it.
Yes.
Feel
Thank
honored to
you.
be on
Thank
the
you.
anniversary episode.
What's your
Yeah,
release
I
schedule
actually
like?
did
How many have there been?
well, this will be like the 26th or 27th. So every 2 weeks
Okay.
I
Oh, okay.
release. So the beginning of May will be a whole year. So to help me celebrate Retromade listeners, please give me the show a 5-star rating and review. Apple, Spotify, Podchaser, you can do that on, I think. Or if you're feeling extra generous, you can offer a tip to help me celebrate the year anniversary. But there's a link in the show notes to show your appreciation. But yeah, I'm excited to make it a year because I feel like a lot of podcasts don't that start. So, okay, now we can open the time capsule from October 1994. We're going to do something a little bit different because we've already covered this season. So this would be like the 94-95 season. And we've already covered the top Nielsen rated shows, as well as notable finales and premieres in both the Tall Tale episode, as well as the Tu Wong Fu episodes. I've given you the list of the top shows. And I wondered if you guys have any particular thoughts or feelings that you want to share on one that meant something to you in particular.
I actually do have an anecdote, and it's specifically about Seinfeld. It's how I came to movies, interestingly enough. Around this time period, I was working at Blockbuster, and the American Film Institute released their first list of 100 greatest movies. This is actually a little bit later than 94, but it's because of Seinfeld that this is relevant. They did a cross promotion, the AFI and Blockbuster did a cross promotion where they were putting stickers on all the movies that were part of the list. And I got 5 free rentals every week from Blockbuster. Well, purely coincidentally, I was watching Seinfeld with my mother, and the show had one of a million Godfather references, and it went completely over my head. My mother laughed, and I was like, "Why did you laugh?" And she's like, "Oh my God, you've never seen The Godfather." So we went out and we rented The Godfather and we watched it and I loved it. I'm like, "Are all movies like this?" And she says, "Well, no, not all movies, but because of the timing of the AFI, and I just happened to I was a junior in high school and I just happened to be off of school, we spent the entire summer watching the entire 100 top movies, the original list that they released. And it completely changed me. After that, I went down this rabbit hole I've never come out of about movies. So that's
You've
when
done
you showed me Seinfeld. That is immediately what I thought of.
Are all movies like this? No. That's one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah.
But all 100, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
Impressive,
I mean,
Eric.
Everything from Yankee Doodle Dandy to Gone with the Wind to The Apartment to Pulp Fiction, all of it.
That's awesome.
Were there any surprises for you that you weren't thinking you were going to love and you did, or vice versa?
Oh yeah, I mean, so many. I mean, I had heard of Quentin Tarantino at this point, but I'd never seen any of his movies. And Pulp Fiction was such a revelatory experience for me in terms of like how you could shoot movies out of sequence. And because movies, for a long time were very narratively driven, and the way he shot it out of sequence and it still worked thematically and narratively was amazing. But the one that blew me away, and I know this is maybe a little bit on the nose, but Citizen Kane. And it was because of when you think about when it came out in 1941, things like movies had never done some of the things that Citizen Kane did. I mean, he invented camera shots and cinematography techniques and special effects shots that had never been done before. And being in high school and watching all of these movies, and we watched them in order too, right? And so Citizen Kane was the last one that I watched. It was just like, you've been steeped in all of these movies up to this point, and then you get to Citizen Kane and you realize, oh my God, so much of everything that I watched came from this one movie. It was absolutely overwhelming to me.
Citizen Kane is like that movie. Believe the hype.
Yeah.
It still remains like a top 5 all-timer for me as well. I was a big Seinfeld guy, as you were. And then I would watch ER. I was a huge ER guy. I see that was the number 2 show. That was on, it was when NBC owned Thursday nights.
That's right.
It was Friends and Seinfeld and ER. And this was right after Jurassic Park, right? So it was like, oh, Michael Crichton and Steven Spielberg have a TV show. I'm all about this. And I was all over it. The the funniest thing ever for me, ER related, is the character, the sort of bald haired guy. He came on later in the show. I think Paul McCrane is the actor. He was the guy in RoboCop who got the toxic waste dumped all over
That's
him.
right. I remember him.
But on ER, he got his arm chopped off by a helicopter, like on the roof of the hospital. And then later on, he got killed when a helicopter fell off the roof of the hospital and landed on him. And it's like, this guy's
remember that.
He's got beef with helicopters
Yeah.
on this show.
Yeah.
That's a lot for one character to go through. But yeah, Home Improvement, big fan. A lot of the shows on the list. 90s were a good era for that comfort viewing TV as well.
And, I know that you said that you covered a lot of this. And so I want to completely derail things a little bit in terms of pop culture. 94 was a watershed year for the video game industry, believe it or not.
Oh, good
So,
tidbit.
There's amazing games came out in 94, including Super Metroid on the Super Nintendo, which is just a pioneering kind of open world side-scrolling adventure game. Final Fantasy VI, which is still heralded as one of the greatest JRPGs ever made. Earthworm Jim, if you remember that game whatsoever, which is another big one. Doom 2, Sonic 3, Donkey Kong Country, the original Tekken. I mean, it is an absolute bottomless pit of content that came out that year, just in video game world. I mean, it's just amazing to me because you were talking specifically about other pop culture things. I'm like, I wonder what's going on in the games industry.
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm not a gamer. So I'm glad you brought that up because I can share very little of my gaming experience, but I can picture playing like Mario Kart in my neighbor's basement, like on those chairs that were made, like those low to the ground chairs that were made for video game playing. So thanks for bringing those up.
Yeah. I couldn't help myself. I do work in the games industry, so I felt obligated. I had to represent a little bit there. And I'm wearing a Mario shirt right now.
All right.
So I'm just, I got to represent the brand a little bit.
That's perfect. Yeah, you're both dressed for the occasion, Mario, and then we have Rocky 3.
Just for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, should we move on to music? Top 10 billboards, you guys. And again, when I do the top 10 billboards, it's this specific week. So this is October 28th, that week, 94. It is mostly love ballads, like tons of them.
Okay.
The number one song was Boys to Men's I'll Make Love to You.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I was like junior prom staple for sure.
You could not get away from it. I heard that song more times than I ever wanted to in my entire life. But number 2 was Sheryl Crow's epic classic, All I Want to Do.
Yes, which is not a love ballad, but man, that's one that'll get stuck in your head. And to be honest with you, I'm way over it. I hate it when I hear it now because it just played too much on the radio. That's one of those for me. Do you guys remember Endless Love by Luther Vandross and Mariah Carey? I kind of didn't. I had to look it up. I didn't really remember it.
Is that a cover?
Yeah, I think it was,
like
right?
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know if it is or not.
Good
but
call.
Yes.
It does sound familiar. It's either a cover of something or someone has covered it because it sounded very
I feel like
familiar.
it could have been a Lionel Richie or something like that.
Yeah,
Am I
it
making
was
that up?
it was a Diana Ross, Lionel Richie song. That is correct.
Yeah. Good job, you guys.
You can thank Google for that one.
He's over here cheating.
Yeah, I'm cheating big time. I
pulled
apologize.
Lionel Richie out of my ass.
No, that's spot on.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm still the top 100. I mean, I've just been listening to classic rock for most of my life and never really grew out of it. So these top 10s, most of what I like is never in the top 10s. Although I admit I am not tired of All I Want to Do. I still love Sheryl Crow. So.
No, I don't like it. No. But there's another one of those that's on the list, but we're going to come to it in a second. The number 4 is when Madonna was this must have been that area where she was like really sensual and sexy.
Okay.
Secret. Do you remember Secret?
Do not.
No.
That's not. No. Is this her era when she was like doing that bullfighting music video?
Yeah, maybe.
That was like her last, towards the end of her super duper stardom, right?
Yeah.
It was like, something's got a hold of me.
Oh, it's like a dance type song, right? A little like
but
beat to it.
It was it's like a hot song.
Okay.
All right.
I can picture it.
Sweaty.
Oh.
Something's coming over me. My baby's got a secret.
But then the other song that I was talking about that got played out, and so it annoys me, is Real McCoy's Another Night. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I don't think I can even picture that.
Another
You have to
night,
drop a clip in.
na, 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 na.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes, I can. I was hearing all of these. This was when I was new to buying CDs and listening to stuff, but I was
Yep.
not listening to a lot of the sort of club music.
Well, whatever was on the radio. I mean, I wasn't going to the club in 94, that's for certain. But Babyface has When Can I See You, which was like another slow love song.
Yeah.
Like, when can I see you again? Something about my heart, let my heart beat again.
You're totally right, though. It's nothing but love ballads in the top
Yeah.
100 this week.
And then this one, I looked it up. It's one of those, I feel like the early 90s had a lot of young boy groups too. They weren't even fully gone through puberty. This was Immature with Never Lie. I'd be shocked if you knew it.
I do
'cause
not
didn't
know this
recall.
song.
I've
I
never heard of
completely
them.
admit, yeah.
But you know, like Aisha, like all those kind of boy groups where they're like 12.
Yeah, Crisscross.
This
was
is
like,
Crisscross is exactly
Yeah.
what
that
came
was
to
one
mind.
of my very first
Yeah.
CDs I ever got. Was
Same.
I
Crisscross.
loved Crisscross.
Same.
Yeah.
Of course. Mac Daddy, make
Yeah.
a jump.
Daddy
Yeah.
Mac will make ya.
And they
Yep.
sang about things that I understood too, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
they were
in
your
Atlanta.
age.
They were in Atlanta.
Yeah, they were in Atlanta group. Yeah.
Aaliyah, rest in peace, has the number 8 song with At Your Best. This is
Mhm.
again, I don't love this song. I'm not a big ballad person. I like classic rock group ballads, but a lot of the ones that are supposed to be really lovey-dovey, I'm like, this is boring.
Yeah. I could not agree more.
This next song also kind of annoys me. Always by Bon Jovi.
I was
It was
never a
that
Bon Jovi
album-
guy either.
Yeah, me
I wasn't in
neither.
that Jersey rock vibe.
Nope, never was. Never was.
Not big into Bon Jovi. And I liked some of the earlier stuff better, but this 90s era Bon Jovi, less so. But that was a huge song. I remember it playing all the time. The number 10 song is not a love ballad, and I love it to this day. Here comes the hot stepper.
Yeah.
I'm not pronouncing the person's name correctly, probably. Ini Kamosi is the artist, but
I can
he's a
put that
lyrical
one in my head
gangster.
anytime I want to. Yeah. I was,
Hot
yeah,
stepper.
that's one that gets stuck in your head for
Yeah, yeah.
days or
Yeah,
weeks.
heck of a hook, man. A hell of a hook.
Yeah, and I'm like, am I singing the words right? Am I getting it right?
No, I can
Especially
never
when I
decipher that
play.
sort of reggae inspired like hip hop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
no.
Snow too.
Mhm.
But that was gibberish. I feel
Oh,
like.
my sister loved that.
It's good stuff. I like that. I do like reggae, so of course I like that song.
Mhm.
So that was the top 10 billboards, you guys, from this week. Stuff that was happening in the world, though. The Far Side cartoon. Do you guys remember that?
The actual cartoon, not the comic strip.
The comic strip.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
I still have a few of those books on my bookshelf over here. Yeah, it was hilarious.
Well, Gary Larson apparently was the maker of it. He announces that he was retiring from doing it.
That was in '94. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember reading so many of those. I could never get enough of them. I had all of the books and I would reread them. That and Calvin and Hobbes. I would reread those over and over and over again.
I get them mixed up, those two.
Yeah.
The Far Side and Calvin and Hobbes. For some
Oh,
reason.
okay.
They were contemporaries for sure. Like
Yeah.
they were both on the newspaper at the same time.
Okay. This, I do not remember. I don't know if you guys are sports guys, but the NBA shortens the 3-point distance
Oh,
okay. So
okay. I know. I don't
apparently
remember that.
to a uniform 22 feet in an attempt to help offensive players score more, which it did because Michael Jordan sets a career high in 3-point attempts and converted 3-point field goals, nearly doubling the previous statistics. So it was
Awesome.
easier. Did you
I
know
was
that
a big Michael
happened?
Jordan fan, as I guess everyone probably was at that time. But
Mhm.
yeah, I was probably like a 12 or 13-year-old. So I wasn't plugged in, I guess, on the rules like that.
I did not know that happened at all.
I know basketball exists as a phenomenon, and that is about as much as I can tell you about basketball.
It's a sport that exists.
Yeah. It's one that I understand, at least. I'm able to follow the game. Some of the other sports, I'm like, wait, now what happened?
Right. Yeah.
Well, this next one, what is old is new, and what is new is old. The Nobel Peace Prize is awarded to Yasser Arafat, who was at the time the Palestinian leader, as well as with Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
Shimon
Rabin.
Peres.
Yeah.
Rabin, yeah, thank you. And Shimon Peres, which was an Israeli statesman. So those three,
Okay.
Palestinian leader and the Israeli leaders, Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, they were trying with the two-state solution at that point, and I think Arafat ultimately walked away from the table on that one. I had no idea, though, that was exactly 20 years ago. That is
Mhm.
very interesting.
30
Yeah.
years ago.
30 years ago. Why did
30, yeah.
30
Yeah, I
years
was like,
ago.
wait,
Math
is that?
right.
I
Yeah.
know. 94, yeah,
Gets his suits at the same place as Hans Gruber from
that's right.
Die Hard. They buy their suits at the same tailor.
I love it. Good callback to our particular genre.
Mm-hmm. Venus Williams makes her professional tennis debut. Do you know how
wow.
old she was?
94?
She was probably a
At-
teenager, though,
Yeah.
right? Like 13 or 14 or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, that's crazy.
14.
Okay.
She was 14.
I know. What were you doing with 14? Just sitting at home watching
Watching movies.
Yeah.
Watching Stargate, actually.
Watching Back to the Future over and over again.
Wow.
That's true. Facts.
There are a couple of weddings. Whoopi Goldberg got married. I think she's been married several times, but at this time she was 38 and she married labor union organizer Lyle Trachtenberg.
Oh.
They divorced the next year. So it
Wasn't
didn't
she
last
married to
very long.
Ted Danson at some point?
They were either married or dated seriously at
That's-
some point. Yes.
That blows my mind.
Well,
I think she's been married like 5 times.
Okay.
Yeah, she
Okay.
doesn't let the dust settle on her wedding.
Yeah. This one lasted a year or less.
Okay.
But Tracy Gold from Growing Pains got married to Roby Marshall, and they are still married.
I love
good for
that.
Hollywood, successful Hollywood marriage.
Mhm.
Can't complain.
Yeah. A couple people died. So Burt Lancaster, who
really?
yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Huh.
He-
I didn't know that was in 94. That's interesting.
He just had his name back in the news from getting referenced by John Mulaney on his Oscars speech
Yeah.
about Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
Oh,
like-
really?
Yeah. Burt Lancaster and
Oh,
Field of Dreams.
wow.
That's really all I know him from, but he was like a legendary Hollywood guy, right?
Mhm. Old school
Back in like the
golden age.
40s, 50s, 60s.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
like From Here to Eternity, Field of Dreams, Birdman of Alcatraz. Yeah, Burt Lancaster. He was 80 and he died of a heart attack.
Okay.
And then I love Raul Julia from the Addams Family. He's Gomez Addams to me. And
he's
so he,
Yeah.
He's M. Bison from Street Fighter.
oh,
for our
yeah,
audience.
yeah,
it was-
yeah.
Came out right around this time
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, well, he died because he had a stroke, and then like 3 weeks later, he died in October of 94.
That's right. And they were in pre-production on a third Addams Family movie,
Yeah.
is my understanding.
Oh.
The very early stages of it.
I think it was even before the Street Fighter movie was released.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's sad. Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, I remember hearing that he died, and I was, for some reason, extremely excited about the Street Fighter movie.
Oh yeah, so was I.
And
so
then
was I.
when it came out, it was not what I was hoping it would be.
Was he the best part of it?
No,
I
the
don't
best
know.
part of that movie is when it ended.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
a bad
okay.
one. He was trying really hard, but you could see it in him that he was in poor health.
Yeah.
Okay, I actually have
Yeah.
not seen that movie.
You're not missing a
But it
lot, but
sounds-
it's worth watching just because it's,
Oh, yeah.
it's such a train wreck.
Get some friends
Oh.
around, get some booze or your drug of
Drinks.
choice, and then just watch it.
Definitely.
You won't regret it.
Okay, good to know. Well, Stargate was the number 9 movie in October of 94, but some of the other big movies, The Specialist,
Oh.
isn't that with our boy Stallone?
Stallone.
Yeah.
That was a big bomb for him, though. Also, wasn't it? I don't know. I don't think
Was-
it did. I don't think it did very well, or maybe it was just critically
It was
success.
probably
Or I'm-
not well received critically.
Or I might be
but-
thinking about Assassins.
Yeah.
That other
I
one he
think
had
you're
with
thinking,
Banderas.
Yeah, I think you're thinking Assassins.
Okay.
I feel like
okay.
the Specialist must have done well because it was the #1 movie in
Yeah.
October.
Okay.
The River Wild was the
Yeah.
#2 movie.
The fly fishing movie with was
Was
it
it bad Kevin
Sheffer.
Bacon? Or am I making that up?
Oh.
Was it Meryl
No.
Streep and Kevin Bacon?
Yes, you're right. I'm thinking of A River Runs Through It. That's what we're thinking of, Eric.
Yeah, that is right.
You're-
That is
No,
you're right.
Kevin-
River Wild
Kevin,
was
you're
like
right.
Thank you.
Kevin Bacon and Meryl Streep. You're right.
psychotic like rap
That's right.
guy.
You're right.
That's right. Yes, I
But-
remember that.
And I don't
movie.
think I've ever seen it though, to be honest. I just remember I was so plugged into movies at this time. I was like knowing about every movie that was coming out. Yeah, but I couldn't see them all. But yes, River Wild. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Pulp Fiction, tiny little movie.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that's an all-time favorite for me.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
I don't know when exactly this story happened in my life, but at one point I was a kid, 13 or whatever. The family station wagon broke down and
Oh,
the
no.
car was at the shop and my mom took me and my sisters to the movie theater and my sisters went off to see, I don't know what, maybe like a Mrs. Doubtfire or something like that, whatever would have been out. And I was trying to decide what to see and Pulp Fiction was playing. He asked the guy behind the counter, "What's Pulp Fiction?" And this is like rural Georgia. He was like, "All the weirdos are coming out to see Pulp Fiction." And I think ultimately I was not sent in by myself as a 13-year-old to watch Pulp Fiction. And I went to go see a movie called The War with Kevin Costner and Elijah Wood, which was very forgettable. I think that's
Yeah.
probably the one and only
Okay.
time I saw that movie. But yeah,
Pulp
that's
Fiction.
that's my first experience of Pulp Fiction. But now I love it. It's an all-time favorite.
I think
I
I
feel
need
like
to
that would have
rewatch
been
it.
I think that would have been a formative moment for you if you had seen Pulp Fiction
13-year-old.
in the middle of rural Georgia.
I'd probably
at
be in
13
jail
years
right
old.
now. I'd probably be in jail right now if I did that.
Your life would have taken a very different
Yes.
course.
What'd you ask,
My-
Katie?
Well, no, it gets such high praise and I don't remember loving it.
Yeah.
I do love like Reservoir Dogs. My very favorite is True Romance.
He
Oh,
wrote
yeah.
it.
He didn't
Has a
direct it, but he
phenomenal
wrote
script,
it.
yeah.
That's like my favorite Tarantino. And I remember I was watching it with a friend and I didn't know that she can't handle violence
Oh,
in
Okay.
movies. But based on the name of it, I was like, "Oh, this is one of my favorite movies. Let's watch this." And she's
What,
like,
True
"Yeah,
Romance?
Yeah, yeah.
She thought it was a
And-
rom-com or something?
No, we had to turn it off. She was like, "I can't with this." I'm like,
Okay.
"It's a movie."
as far as Tarantino, and obviously this is far more contemporary, but I've seen Inglourious Basterds more times than I can count. That is one of my comfort movies, right? When I just want to curl up with a warm blanket in the middle of winter when it's raining, Inglourious Basterds is one of my go-tos.
He's been a good
that in the
collaborator of Kurt
2000s?
Russell lately,
Yeah,
too, right?
Yes, yeah. Hateful Eight, right?
Yeah,
Love
Hateful
Hateful
Eight,
Eight,
and he was a cameo in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood
And Death
Oh,
Proof
yeah.
and Death Proof.
Mhm.
Yeah.
as a stuntman.
Good
I
call.
like to imagine that the stuntman guy in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is the father of the stuntman in Death Proof.
I mean,
'Cause I know
Mhm.
Tarantino likes to connect his
Yeah.
movies like that.
Yeah,
There was
good. Yep.
Stuntman Mike or whatever. Yeah.
I'll buy it.
So Forrest Gump was released the prior July
Okay.
or in July, but this is
Yeah.
October and it's still topping the box office.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a pretty great movie, though.
Yeah,
That was when
Epic
Zemeckis could do
soundtrack,
no
too.
wrong.
that was Zemeckis, wasn't
Mhm.
it?
Yeah.
Mhm. I think of Romancing the Stone.
Yes.
that
Oh,
movie, but
God,
I love
way
that movie.
underrated movie. I feel
It
like younger
is.
generation has not watched that movie. And
It's
every
fabulous.
every romantic adventure movie, I feel like just wants to be Romancing the Stone.
It is the best one by
Yeah.
far, I think. But the other ones were Only You, New Nightmare, Quiz Show, Jason's Lyric, and Little Giants. So that was at the theater.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Mhm.
Quiz show is interesting. That was the black
Yeah.
and white game show one with Tim Robbins. It was about the cheater on
I don't,
that old
I don't know
classic.
if Tim Robbins was in it.
Was
Ray
it not?
Fiennes was in it.
Was
but
it Ray
was a,
Fiennes?
Oh,
was a-
yeah, yeah,
it was
yeah.
a
Good
Robert
memory.
Redford directed vehicle.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
watched that a
Yeah.
million times on HBO, I think, because that was in the day when HBO would just play the same movie every day at the same time or
It
whatever.
was. Yeah. It was Ray Fiennes and John Turturro. You're right. I
It
don't know
was-
why I thought it was Tim Robbins.
It's good, though.
Yeah. It's a good flick. It's a good flick.
Before we get into Stargate, as you guys probably have figured out, my season about the ultimate everyone is based on Kurt Russell and Patrick Swayze. Do either of you have any thoughts or fandom about either Kurt or Patrick that you would like to share?
Well, we just did one of our episodes very recently was Red Dawn. Which is
Yes.
a Patrick Stewart, or not Patrick Stewart, Patrick
Swayze?
Swayze, Charlie Sheen.
Similar
vehicle.
type.
Oh yeah, definitely
Similar
similar
type.
types. I'm a big fan of Patrick Swayze. I've liked him. I think I saw him in Dirty Dancing originally. It's the first place I saw him, actually.
I grew up not really a big Patrick Swayze guy. I think I loved The Outsiders and I
Mhm.
loved Point Break.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't really watch any of his other movies. I've to this day, I've never seen Dirty Dancing.
Wow.
I'm
Oh my
ashamed to
God.
admit. But I have discovered some of his other stuff like Red Dawn and Roadhouse. I didn't watch somehow, even though Roadhouse is like an incredible, like
Oh,
night with the guys viewing experience now, you know?
I'm
there's about to
chicken.
be
I
that-
love it.
The
I mean,
remake
obviously.
or whatever that
Yeah.
looks not great, but
No.
I encourage everyone to just put on the Patrick Swayze version again.
Although, go ahead, please.
I was going to say, I was just a big Kurt Russell guy, though,
Oh yeah.
for sure. I was all over his stuff. I made myself a little list because I didn't want to forget anything. The Thing is my favorite
Mhm.
Kurt Russell movie.
Katie.
Amazing.
Really?
Tombstone,
Mhm.
which you covered, and I've listened to that episode.
We did
I
the
love
thing too.
Tombstone. Backdraft, I loved. Have you done
Yeah.
Backdraft yet?
Yep.
Are you working through the movies chronologically?
No,
On-
it's not chronological. It's
Okay.
guest pick.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then obviously but he's had this like, he had Escape from New York, amazing. His like
Mhm.
great relationship with John
Kurt-
Carpenter.
Yeah.
Big Trouble in Little China,
Oh,
amazing. And then but he keeps his career going. It's incredible. Like he's found this new career with James Gunn and Tarantino doing the Marvel movies, doing
Mhm.
Hateful Eight, as we mentioned, and that sort of stuff. I love Kurt Russell. I think he's awesome.
When he was recently in Monarch on Apple TV, which
Yeah.
was the Godzilla TV show, and he was phenomenal in that too. And it is disconcerting how much his son looks like him.
Oh,
Who was-
Wyatt?
Yeah, Wyatt was
Yeah.
also in that show playing the
Mhm.
younger version of Kurt Russell.
That's
Mhm.
And
fantastic.
it is like, yeah, okay, well, yeah, that's true. That is exactly what he
Oh.
looked like.
For our audience, I should also mention Tango and Cash.
Yes, of course.
Oh.
Which is like
I mean,
horrendously bad movie, but it's so fun to watch.
It is.
And it's the
so
one and only time
quiet.
that I know of that you get to see Kurt Russell in drag, which is great.
Yep.
so they both done drag,
Yeah.
Patrick and Kurt.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen that. I haven't seen that Swayze movie
Oh,
either.
it's good.
The drag
It's
movie.
It's actually really good.
Okay, that's
um,
right here.
Yeah, all three of the guys are. It was 95. It's quite impressive. Yeah.
It was Patrick Swayze and John Leguizamo, or no, it was
Wesley
yeah.
Snipes?
Wesley Snipes.
And Wesley. Yeah, those three.
It
were
was
the
John
main-
Leguizamo. Okay,
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
was,
remember that
yeah.
correctly. Okay,
Mhm.
cool. Okay,
Yeah, they were really good.
yeah.
I really
They're
liked
both
the
phenomenal
shower
actors.
scene in Tango and Cash because we got Kurt and Sly.
Yeah.
Hitting all the buttons for it.
That's a weird scene, but yeah, I love it.
It went on far too long.
You get to see side by side asses, right? Like
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
both full rear nudity.
Stereo
Yeah.
asses for you.
I quite enjoyed it.
It's good. That was one of the funnier scenes in the movie.
They're gonna
Yeah.
remaster that scene in 5.1 when it's on Blu-ray.
18.
Stallone
Yeah.
is not shy about showing his buttocks.
assets?
Yeah, he's not shy about that. Now, I clearly think that Kurt and Patrick resemble each other
Okay.
and have similarities. Do you?
They both had awesome heads of hair.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's true. I don't know if I pick them out of a lineup and think they look all that similar, but they were
Okay.
both just very handsome, rugged, kind of everyman looking dudes. Yeah, for sure. Sure.
I think Kurt Russell came into his age a little bit better than Patrick Swayze did. I think he was able to pivot better than Patrick Swayze did. I mean, by the time I saw Swayze in Black Dog, he definitely felt like he was past his peak by that point. And was he
Mm.
suffering from his cancer by then? I don't remember.
He might have been secretly ill already. I don't know when that started.
But I think as an action star, I feel like Kurt Russell probably brought it a little bit stronger than Swayze. Although, I mean, you can't ever understate Roadhouse or Point Break, in my opinion. I
Mhm.
mean, those are both just
Point Break is a
is a classic.
touchstone
Yeah.
all-timer
Yeah.
action movie for sure. And for me, that's my favorite Swayze. That, he's got that leadership, the natural leader thing that he does so well
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
so many movies. and like every guy I feel like wanted to be him in Point Break for sure.
Yeah, I guess I'd have to say probably Roadhouse is my favorite Swayze.
We have a series of episodes on all these movies also, by the way, on the podcast. So if you love these type of movies, come check out the Roadhouse episodes or Point Break or Big Trouble in Little China
or Red Dawn.
Your Red Dawn, absolutely.
And I have a bonus episode covering the remake of Roadhouse. So I covered Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay. I
so
have not-
listeners, check out the bonus episode of that if you haven't already. And Kevin, you need to watch Dirty Dancing. It's fucking great.
Okay. I feel like I've seen it before, just from like it's in the ether, it's like a part of the pop culture zeitgeist. But yes, I do need to watch it because why not? And as was covered on our episodes on Red Dawn, I think Jennifer Grey was really cute. So I need to check.
She
that
looks
out.
identical. Like literally, she
Yeah.
looks identical.
No,
in
it
Dirty
must have been like
Dancing.
almost the next thing,
Yeah.
for them after that. But yeah, all right, I'll check it out for sure for you.
Thank you. Report back, please. All right, shall we get into the movie Stargate?
Oh, I'm ready for it.
Yes.
I'm ready for it.
Okay, so it was like 2 hours long. It's PG-13. It has an IMDb rating of 7, which I'm shocked by that. But
Does that seem low to you? It should be higher.
no. Mm-mm.
Oh, you don't like it?
really?
Oh, I loved this movie.
Yeah.
When it came out, I feel it was made just for
No.
me. Yeah, I love it.
It was definitely not
Okay.
made for Katie.
Interesting. Okay.
Does it hair off? Is it because
No, no.
Kurt chopped his hair off?
Kurt looks handsome in it.
Okay.
I mean, he looks handsome in anything. Well, first, we'll get to it, but the first scene of him, he has long and it's blonde hair.
Yeah.
It was
and
his.
then-
I feel like it was his Tombstone hair still. The way his hair was at the end of Tombstone.
But it was blonde.
Yeah, there's a
Which
strange
is
choice to go
unusual.
blonde.
Yeah. And then he's in his like military outfit with his beret and crew cut. Kurt looked super handsome in it, but this movie, not for Katie, so I'm spoiling it. I'm going to read the description in case people haven't seen it since 94, or if you haven't ever seen it. It sounds pretty interesting. Egyptologist Dr. Daniel Jackson is brought to an underground military base where he decodes the symbols on Egyptian cover stones as constellations. That allows an alien device known as the Stargate to be opened, and a team led by Air Force Colonel Jack O'Neill, Kurt Russell, and Jackson to travel across the known universe to a distant planet. Arriving on the planet, they find a culture ruled by someone pretending to be the Egyptian sun god Ra. Soon, Ra captures the team and takes control of a nuclear weapon brought to the planet in case of the discovery of hostile aliens. Jackson and O'Neill escape and must fight Ra and his army of warriors to save Earth from being destroyed by Ra. That sounds like a lot going on in one
Oh,
movie. Yeah?
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sure is. So
That
it was a mess, I thought.
Like
But
triple mumbo jumbo on that one.
But it did make a lot of money. It was kind of like a surprise hit. It was $55 million budget and it grossed $197 million. So I would say
Respectable.
pretty successful.
Oh,
very much, yeah.
The director, he's a German director, Roland Emmerich.
Emmerich.
Emmerich. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So he is like a blockbuster guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, Day After Tomorrow, Godzilla, Independence Day, The
Independence Day.
Patriot.
Yeah,
I'm probably
Independence Day was the
forgetting
big one, right?
Yeah. That's his peak.
Yeah.
And a Universal Soldier that he did right before this, a Van Damme
Right.
and Dolph
Dolph
Lundgren
Lundgren.
movie.
Oh, ooh.
That was a
You
good
know,
one.
So they're both super handsome. I am shocked I haven't seen that movie yet.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, check it
yeah.
out. It's a pretty, well, I don't know. If you didn't like this, you might not like it because it's another sort of sci-fi action thing. They're
There's-
pretty good.
There's a lot of like nudity, if I remember correctly. There is.
Oh.
There's
I
some
don't-
ass in that one.
can't
so-
speak
Like
to
Dolph and Van Damme?
Van Damme, I think.
Probably Van Damme. I don't remember
Okay.
Dolph.
They
getting
had
there.
a weird, they're these preserved soldiers and they have to stay cool or cold
Yeah.
to, they overheat
Mhm.
really easily or something. So I feel like
Oh.
he gets naked and gets in a bathtub full of ice or something.
Okay.
So yeah, just giving you incentive more than anything else.
I am shocked because I am a fan of both of theirs. So I don't
Okay,
know why I
check
haven't
that one
seen it.
out.
So speaking of Universal Soldier, Dean Devlin was one of the writers, along with the director was also a writer.
They're
And he
frequent
also-
collaborators.
Yeah. Because he also did Independence Day and Godzilla and Universal Soldier. So
Mhm.
yeah, team up there. And the music guy was also kind of like a whole trio of a team up there because David Arnold did the music for this movie. He also did Independence Day and
Okay.
Godzilla,
Mhm.
but he also did 5 James Bond films, which seems like
Mhm.
a very different type of
What
score.
era of James Bond was that? Like
He was the Pierce Brosnan
Brosnan's?
era. Yeah.
Okay.
He actually, like, his score for Tomorrow Never Dies is still my favorite take on the James Bond theme, actually.
Oh,
No.
okay.
I was a huge David Arnold fan. Back in the day when I was a kid, I loved movie soundtracks, and I would buy all movie soundtracks
Mhm.
on CD. And every time David Arnold would score a movie, I would immediately buy the soundtrack score because he was one of my favorite composers of that era.
The music for this movie, I feel like, is the best thing about this movie. The music was so good.
I can
Epic,
agree with
like,
that. 100%.
It's like Lawrence of
agree with that.
Arabia-ish. Yeah,
Mhm.
it goes so good with the visuals and all that.
I concur. I was unfamiliar with him. I'm not familiar with David Arnold. Now, of course, if Kurt Russell wasn't in this, I would have zero interest in watching it. But even he couldn't save it. This is the first movie on the show that I don't like.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't know if I speak for like 13-year-old boys. I loved this movie when it came out. I was so excited when it was on the horizon, when it was coming soon. I know I saw this movie in theaters and I know that I loved it. I might have seen it a couple of times.
It
Yeah,
makes no sense.
honestly,
Like, it's so
I-
all over the place.
it is, I know, but it's got like Egyptian aliens and it's got gun shooting and it's got rebellion and explosions and really cool masks and sets and all that kind of stuff. I
It-
mean,
It is a mishmash of, I feel like, a lot of other movies that
Mhm.
were already out.
Yeah.
You know, like I felt like it was Indiana Jones crossed with The Abyss, which I loved.
Yeah.
The James Cameron movie maybe crossed with a little dash of Jurassic Park and a little bit of Dune, which is a big hit right now.
Mhm.
Like,
yeah.
but yeah, those are all ingredients that I love. So maybe I was just predisposed to like this.
Now, I clearly am not the audience for this. I am not a sci-fi person. Like, I
oh,
don't
okay,
care
okay.
All right, that's
for
fair.
sci-fi. But I love Egypt stuff. I'm very fascinated by Egypt. I was supposed to go like a couple years ago, and now is probably not the best time to go. But yeah, I love Egypt. And I love Kurt. James Spader is in this. The
I
cast
love
of
James
characters.
Spader. Yeah, I'm a huge
He's
James
good in
Spader
it.
fan. Kevin, not so much, actually.
I don't get it. Whatever it is about him, I just don't get it.
Yeah, he's lukewarm for me. And so neither one of these, okay, so Kurt and James, neither one of them wanted to do this movie. They read the script and they were like, this is horseshit,
I read-
basically.
I read that too. It sounded like everyone thought they were working on a bad movie.
Yeah.
And then for me, it came out pretty good.
Yeah, for me
Well,
too.
I think action sci-fi, like I can see why 13-year-old boys would like it, but I just don't think it was well executed. They threw way too many things in the pot and it was hard
Yeah.
to follow, in my opinion. But
They were like ahead of the curve, I feel like, on the whole ancient aliens sort of
mhm.
aliens built the pyramids thing. That was brand new for me in 94. And now I feel like there's 4 different TV shows about that.
Yeah. And again, when I was 13 watching this come out, I was not watching it for the narrative. I was watching it for the explosions. I mean, there's no, I mean, full disclosure on that one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can. That totally makes sense. And for me, it was like that. There's too much to follow. It doesn't make sense. But you guys, so we have Kurt Russell. I'm gonna get through the cast before we
Yeah.
continue our discussion so that it makes more sense. So he is Colonel Jack O'Neill. James Spader plays like a linguist,
Mhm.
doctor.
An Egyptologist. Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
Dr. Daniel Jackson. Is it Jay or Jai?
It's Jai.
Davidson.
Jai Courtney.
Jai Davidson.
It is.
I don't know what it is. It's not Courtney. It's Davidson.
It's Davidson.
Jai Courtney. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about that guy who played Captain Boomerang in Suicide Squad.
I don't know.
That was a weird diversion. I apologize.
It's spelled Jaye, so I wasn't sure if it was J or Jai.
And it is Jay.
The guy from the crying game. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is Jay.
Who didn't want to do this movie either, right?
Well, what's funny is he has no acting. Like, he was spotted. He wasn't an actor, and he was kind of a diva on set, apparently. And then he
Yeah.
retired from acting after this. But
This
he
was the last
did-
feature film he ever did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he
Wow.
was nominated for an Oscar for Crying Game. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's that guy.
I
And
also, did
then-
you read the thing about the nipple rings, or is that, should we talk about that
Yes,
now or later?
Yes, have at it. Have at it. Yeah.
That they had to film him from the shoulders up or something because he wouldn't take his nipple rings out.
Well, that's
to
why that
film?
outfit came up to here.
Yeah.
On the
Yeah.
one shot where he's like shielding his eyes from the ship, you can see gaffer tape on covering his nipples.
Yeah.
Whatever, so strange. It's just strange.
He hated the outfits. I read that during takes, he like took them off and walked naked then to his trailer because he just couldn't stand the costume.
Yeah.
And that he couldn't remember his lines. So he had to read off cue cards.
And he got paid like $1 million or something
Yeah.
for this.
Wow.
That he didn't want to do it, and he made an outrageous demand for $1 million salary, and they said okay.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
I
guess
mean, if
that
you're going to get offered that kind of money.
Yeah.
Crazy though.
similar with Kurt, they just kept giving him more and more money until he was like, I did think this is weird. This doesn't seem like a Kurt movie. Like that.
Okay,
it doesn't
but I do
feel
feel like
Kurt
this
part
part was kind of perfect for him. I feel like it was just
Really?
perfect for his energy.
This
Type.
rough guy, kind of gruff. Yeah.
No nonsense soldier.
Yeah.
But I think I also read that he went like straight from the set from Tombstone, which was only like 100 miles away, like
Mhm.
straight into making this movie. And he was in a bad mood because Tombstone had been such a disastrous production.
That doesn't surprise me. I think it was in Yuma, Arizona is where they filmed this, like the
Mhm.
deserty like conditions. James Spader admitted fully that this was for a paycheck. He said he hated the script. It was horrible, but he's like, I need some effing money.
Yeah.
Apparently that's what James Spader said.
I mean, respect. Look, acting is
It's a
a
job.
you
I mean,
know?
it's a
Right.
job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought he was pretty good in it. Younger than I was expecting him to look. He had
Mhm.
good long hair and glasses and like a young, I guess I'm not used to seeing like a young James Spader.
Was it White Heat with Susan Sarandon?
He was like a Brat Pack or
Yeah, he
wasn't
was,
he? Like
right?
an
Well,
80s teen
adjacent.
movies.
Adjacent. He was in, was it Pretty in Pink?
Yes.
James
He was in
Spader?
some of
Yeah.
those movies
so.
back then for sure.
Yeah.
I found
Playing
myself
like a
wishing that it
dickhead.
had been. I found myself wishing it had been Val Kilmer playing that part. I think he could have been the scientist guy. Put some glasses on him, and like he could play the
Oh.
intellectual type of guy.
He could have played Kurt's role too. They have a similar energy.
They
Yeah,
could have
I
brought
agree.
the
I
whole
agree.
Tombstone cast over and just
Good
done this
point.
movie right
Yeah.
after.
Yeah. Yes, good point. So the Catherine was the lady who convinced Dr. Jackson to come translate. She won an Emmy for her guest role on an episode of Life Goes On. And she played Paula in The Way We Were. And the lady I'm talking about is Vivica Lindfors. And she plays a Swedish woman in the movie, and she's actually Swedish.
Oh,
in real life.
Swedish. Okay, we were trying to figure out what ethnicity she was supposed to be. when
yeah. I thought she
watching
was
it.
French or something, but
Yeah,
Swedish. Okay.
Swedish.
Swedish.
Okay, that answers the
Mhm.
question. Thank you.
Yes. Alexis Cruz plays Scara, which I don't really recall them saying most of these people's names. Like the villager people, they don't say their
Not
names.
at
I feel
all.
like.
Yeah.
Not at all. He was just like the young rebel kids.
Yeah.
Yes. That's who he
Who were
is.
all apparently like Mexican kids that
Mhm.
they cast or whatever, but they all were like pretty decent, I thought.
Mhm.
Yeah, this kid, well, he's a man now. he's
That's fair.
he's not like super well known, but he's in tons of TV, like an episode here and there.
Oh,
With a
good
lot of
working
stuff.
actor.
Yeah. And then Mili Abital plays the beautiful woman, the love interest of
Yeah,
Dr. Daniel
Shaori.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Rory,
She was
yeah.
lovely.
Mhm. Mhm.
She's a lauded Israeli actress, but not really well known here.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I did not know that.
That's like Egypt adjacent.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, very much so, which is why I'm gonna wait to go back.
I don't blame you.
Leon Rippey plays General West.
Mhm.
I know him well from Deadwood.
Yeah.
Yes,
TV show
Deadwood.
Deadwood.
So-
Yeah. Tom Nuttall. I went to Deadwood recently and went to the real Nuttall Saloon wherever Wild Bill got shot. You know, it was kind of cool.
I'm
a big,
watching that
like,
TV
Old
show
West
right
guy.
now.
Yeah, Dead
Yeah.
Man's.
Oh, you're watching Deadwood?
Yeah, I've never seen it before. and the
Enjoy.
last
What do you
time-
think?
I like it a lot.
It's such unique writing. The writing style is kind of like really obscene or profane Shakespeare.
Yeah.
I do like Ian McShane. Is that the?
Oh, yeah. Ian McShane as Swearingen. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, scenes.
What an amazing, amazing actor.
hmm Who's the? Oh, what is his name? One of the hardware store guys.
Timothy
trying to think of his-
Oliphant or the other guy,
The guy who
the
runs
other
the
one.
store?
Not
Star,
Timothy
right?
Hawks.
Yeah, Hawks, not Star.
John
yeah.
Hawks.
Well, no, Star.
John-
I think is his character on the show.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
John Hawks. Yeah,
Yeah.
Soul Star.
He's good.
Yeah,
I
he's
like
phenomenal.
him a lot. He was in the new True Detective. He's in that with.
Right.
Was he in season 4?
He
Oh, okay.
was. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Great cast on Deadwood for sure.
Oh yeah, Brad
Yeah.
Dourif is a passion of mine. I love Brad Dourif ever since Went Below the Cuckoo's Nest, and he really brings it home in Deadwood for me.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
That's awesome.
Getting
Yeah,
back
everyone
to-
should watch Deadwood. That's
Yeah.
that's like a top 2 or 3 all-time TV show for me for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then with Kurt Russell, that's the other thing is the only people's names I know are basically Jackson and Raw. The rest of the characters, I name the actor. I'm like, Kurt Russell's characters.
I couldn't have told you Kurt Russell's character's name.
No.
He's
yeah,
just Kurt
like they
Russell.
don't say their
Right.
names. So anyway,
Yeah.
Kowalski is
Ye-
one of Kurt Russell's characters. He's like one of the other army guy or Air Force
Yes,
guys
yes.
that goes with him.
He from
Yes.
action movies.
He's in a lot of stuff. He was in Miami Vice.
Really?
The
The
TV
old
show,
show?
Miami Vice. Yeah. The
Oh,
80s
wow.
show.
He was in Con Air
Mhm.
and he was in Kickboxer Part 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
The
Deep cut.
Client, he was in The Client, probably one of the bigger movies. He had a very small part, but the other lieutenant that they really showed a lot was Ferretti, and that's French Stewart.
And Stewart, I know. Isn't that wacky?
It's weird casting, I thought. He doesn't strike me as
Yeah.
a soldier or a
No.
tough guy.
I didn't recognize him, but I heard him. I was like, that's French Stewart. And he
He's
didn't
like
have
bullying.
quite
He's
the...
bullying James Spader around. It was kind of weird.
This was his film debut, I guess.
Oh, was he a stand-up comic? We were like trying to figure out where he came from before
I
Third
don't
Rock.
know.
Yeah.
But Third Rock was like the next year.
Yeah, that's definitely the role that defines him, right?
It's great. I love that show.
I mean, honestly, the only other time I can think of seeing him was in a one-off episode of Community, like 20 years later.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what he did before. I mean, he was probably in his early 20s
Yeah.
Yeah.
for this. So
And he wasn't, it's interesting that he wasn't squinty through this whole movie,
that's what I
given
thought
that this
too.
movie would have been perfect for him to be squinty.
He wasn't squinty. I totally took note of that too. That's why I didn't recognize him, I think. He has regular eyes. Now there's two, I don't know what you guys would call them, Ra's henchmen.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Sure.
it-
Yeah, the henchman. That's good.
Anubis and Horace, right?
Yes.
I
Again,
recognize
we
the
never
one
hear
guy.
their name. But yeah, so Anubis, not well known, but he, as an actor, his name is Carlos Lauchu, and he's an extremely accomplished martial artist.
Oh, okay.
Not well known
Okay.
actor. But you know Horace because he has been Oscar nominated. I can't talk. Did
Jimon Honshu.
Is it Jimon? Is the D silent?
Oh,
Yeah,
Jimon?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Jimon
I just
Honshu.
know his Gladiators buddy and Gladiator.
Oh, I remember him from Amistad, and
Yeah.
I mean, he had a small role in Guardians of the Galaxy.
He's awesome. And,
Yeah,
and Blood Diamond, I remember.
Yeah,
him.
Blood
I was
Diamond.
like,
All
yeah.
of those. So
Yeah. He's
Gladiator,
awesome.
Golden Globe nom for Amistad,
mm-hmm.
and then Oscar noms for both Blood Diamond and In America.
Oh, that's right. I
Okay.
totally forgot about that movie.
Yeah, he's awesome. What a long career he's had.
Yeah,
I mean, it was so
He's-
accomplished, but
He
his
still looks
name-
exactly the same.
He looks the
No.
same. Like 30
Yeah.
years, he does. He looks exactly the same. He started as a male model. Like he was a model
Oh,
before he was an
interesting.
actor.
I could see that. He's a very like
Because it's
striking looking man.
different. Yes. But he was credited in this movie without his last name, just as Jimon.
Oh,
Oh, interesting.
that's like supermodel style.
Huh.
Yeah.
It
okay.
is. Yeah,
Okay.
like Twiggy or I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I recognize Kasuf, which is like the dad of the
Mhm.
boy
Mm-hmm.
I
and
did
like the
too.
leader
He had a
of
great
the
voice.
villagers.
Yeah.
He's super well known. His name is Eric Avari, he's been in so many things, but people might recognize him from the movie The Mummy, as
Okay.
well as Mr. Deeds with Adam Sandler. And then the TV series The Chosen. He's in that. I
I've
can
never
picture
seen
him in
that
that.
show.
Mhm.
No. Okay. Yeah,
And
very
then
familiar though. I feel like I've seen him in 100 things.
he's super familiar. I believe he was born in India. Richard Kind. Did you guys spot
Yeah,
him?
that's right. Richard Kind is it with a small role bringing it home.
Yeah, comedy
Yeah.
guy.
I love him. You
Oh,
guys,
yeah.
Richard Kind has been in like everything, but I know him best as Mark from Mad About You.
Oh, okay. See, I remember him from, he was in Spin City, right? With
He
Michael
was
J.
in
Fox.
Spin City. Yes,
Yeah,
that's right.
that's where I first saw
See,
him.
and I think of him from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, Curb.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
obviously he was the voice of T-Rex in the Toy Story movies
Ah.
as well.
He's
Hilarious
voiced a lot
guy.
of cartoons.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
his filmography it's crazy long. Hmm. Okay, so I've already spoiled my overall impressions. So what do you guys think of Stargate? And do you think a 7 is not high enough?
I think 7 is just about right, honestly, for me at least.
I
Okay.
agree with that. I think 7 is probably what I would rank it out of 10.
Really?
I thought it was, it delivered on what it promised. If you're a fan of that sort of Star Wars, sci-fi adventure type thing, it was felt like a fresh idea, and the visual effects were great.
Yeah.
The production value we were talking about was great, like all the epic vistas and everything like that. Yeah,
That was good. I agree.
I liked it.
Mhm.
I mean, and again, like I'm a sucker for explosions, and it definitely delivered on the explosion front. So it worked for there. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll be honest, like Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin they've never been known for their phenomenal screenwriting, right? So
That's true. They're not like going to win you any
Oh.
best pictures or anything like that.
Oh, certainly not. No.
Just do a crowd pleasers.
I guess I
Okay.
love the sort of alternate history piece
Yeah.
of it, the idea that the pyramids actually were from an alien culture. And weirdly enough, before that was a thing, I hadn't heard that. I know, I don't know if it was, I read it in the early days of the internet or what, but I had heard of this conspiracy theory before, and I really thought it was great. I thought, like, the fact that the pyramids were landing pads for a larger spaceship, I thought was hilarious. I was like so on board.
I was like,
for
what
that.
is going on? Okay.
Okay.
You guys, on that.
This was your first time seeing it was for the podcast?
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
yes.
That's
okay,
fair.
yes.
Maybe it
So as an
didn't age
adult,
well.
I don't have the nostalgia. So
Yeah.
I do recognize that that's probably adding to your enjoyment of
Oh,
it.
so much so. Yeah,
Sure.
no question.
Yeah.
But the
Take you right back
pyramids-
to like middle school. Yeah.
yes, there was like the conspiracy theory about the aliens and the pyramid. But this movie, I didn't come away with that. They said that it's a replica. This planet that they go to has an exact replica of the
Yeah.
pyramids on our
That
planet.
was weird. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
a weird way to
It's
put
a
it.
weird way to put it for sure. Yeah.
So
Again,
I was
I
like,
think-
that, okay, it's just a replica. And then, yeah, like the spaceship somehow comes on it and it comes alive differently. It was weird.
There
I
was a lot
didn't-
happening, but I think they were having fun with the fact that they had these new effects,
Yeah.
technology
Yeah.
at that time.
yeah.
Like, look what we can do.
I mean, a lot of the stuff that Emmerich did in Stargate with the models and shooting in miniature, he brought into Independence Day, right?
Okay.
So he took a lot of that experience from Stargate and applied it to like all the explosion shots from
Yeah.
Independence Day. It all came
The
from
White
his-
House blowing up.
Yeah,
or
it
whatever.
all came from what
Okay.
he did on Stargate. It was really interesting.
Like, why did the Stargate look like water? We don't know.
We don't know.
It doesn't really. It's
Now
kinda
I did
weird.
like that. Like I didn't
It
have
looked
any
cool.
Yeah, it
problem
was a
with
great
that. It
effect.
looked cool. I liked the vistas. I did like the shots of the village. I even thought the creature thing was cool.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the weird horse camel thing.
Yeah.
Well, is that what you described it as? Like when you were a kid, when you just first saw it? How would you describe this creature to someone?
Oh, that's a good
It
question.
looked like a Jim Henson sort of creation.
yeah.
Mhm.
Something from Labyrinth or something.
Yeah, definitely Labyrinth. Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
point. That's a good way of putting it. I did think it was cool. It was like really out of nowhere. It was this big, how I would describe it. It had like a dinosaur face, but then
yeah.
its body was hairy and it was big. But somehow, so it did not look like any earthly animal. It looked like an alien animal.
Yeah, it was a pretty good effect, really.
But somehow these people are not phased like at all. They're like, oh, score. There's this weird. They're like, yeah,
Right. Why didn't
No
they bring
biggie.
horses, right? Because we reckon all the people there
Yeah.
were brought from Earth.
Yes, that is my
Yes.
understanding.
So
Yeah.
they
Yes.
could have brought horses or something, but
Right.
instead they had these weird desert creatures.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Don't think too hard about it. I feel
No,
like.
don't do it.
Again,
Don't do
right.
it.
You're going down rabbit holes you don't want
Yeah.
to go down with Stargate.
Also
I-
part of the House of Cards.
It is the delicate house of
It's
cards.
oh,
A pyramid of cards.
ooh. Now apparently the this creature. I was reading that it's actually Clydesdale horses, like in a sort of like in a costume.
Yeah, it's probably real hot in there.
Yeah.
I read there was horses, and then on some of the shots it was a dog dragging
was
like
running.
a little small model of James Spader around or something. Yeah, that's wild.
Okay, favorite scenes, you guys. Like, what really made it for you?
This is super dumb, but when he's in the ruins with his girlfriend and he starts like reading aloud the hieroglyphics and she kind of recognizes it, and then they realize that they're speaking the same language, just a different dialect of it, and then that's how they figure out how to get home.
Okay.
That was like that to me. And it's still, even despite all of the other problems with that movie, of which it's myriad, I just thought that was such a clever way to find a solution to the problem that they established in the beginning of the second act, right?
Okay.
Like the
I'll give you
idea that he had the answer all along, but because it was a language that hadn't been spoken in thousands of years, the dialect had shifted. I'm like, oh, what a clever, believable way to solve this problem. That was one of my favorite scenes, and it wasn't even about explosions.
Weird.
But he was somehow fluent in this.
Well, yeah, okay.
Language.
And then, yeah, but then he's instantly fluent in the dialect. Again,
Yeah.
don't go too far down this road.
Like I feel like because I bet no one would know
Yeah,
what that language sounds like, right? Like no one in 1994.
yeah.
I had the same issue with Jurassic Park where they're saying the T-Rex's vision is based on movement. And it's like no one in 1990, you don't know what the T-Rex's vision was based on.
Yeah.
Like in 65 million years later or whatever. For me, I loved the beginning of the movie, the part of the 1920s when they were unearthing this stuff. It was big, Indiana Jones vibes.
Very.
And then the whole setup where like the government people come to him and want to use his expertise to figure it out. That was also big Indiana Jones. Like when the guys came and wanted Indy to figure out the Ark of the Covenant for them or whatever. I like that. I like the first moment that the Stargate got opened up and the water zoomed out and everything like that was very cool.
Yeah.
What did I like? I loved Kurt Russell's character, his like pathos, his lost son or whatever that kept manifesting itself through the movie. When the kid tried to grab his gun and he pulled it away from the kid in the other world, and he was very protective, didn't want the kid to touch his gun. And then I think later he had a chance to kill Rob. He couldn't do it because there were all the kids around. And then in the very end, when one of the bad guys shoots at the kids, that really set Kurt Russell off. So I liked that he had his character had a very good through line from his motivation about having lost his son or whatever.
I'm glad you
else?
brought that up because I feel like I've only watched it once, but I feel like on second rewatch, maybe I would have picked up a little more because I actually was hoping for more.
Oh,
But
interesting.
you did bring up a few good examples because I was like, yeah, his kid died. He accidentally shot himself. But then I was like, they didn't really bring it up a lot. But you're right. They did.
It was subtle though.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like the look of Ra's goons, the henchmen, like they
Yeah.
look like hieroglyphics.
Like the
It was very cool, like
headpieces.
visual thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I love those weapons. They had the blasters that did this incredible damage. And the flying, the spacecrafts or whatever, the little ships they zoomed around in was awesome as well.
Yeah. And
There's
I
a lot
just
to like about it for me.
Yeah, I love that the geeky scientist gets the hot chick in the end. I mean, come on, like that's an easy win.
The guy with the glasses scores.
Yeah, the Four Eyes gets the girl.
Good point. Good. That's a really good point. But okay, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like the end took a little too long. I was like, oh God, is it over yet? But
Because you don't like explosions as much as I do.
I mean, with the last
What do you mean?
ending
You mean
sequence,
after the last after the last battle, or just like you just even
I
during the
almost,
battles you were wishing?
they're all conflated to me because I feel like there was like
Okay.
4 last battles. You know what I mean?
It
Yeah.
did go on and on.
Yeah,
But what
that's
about What about the kills at the end though? Like the teleporter thing that like cut the guy in half. I thought that was awesome.
That was cool. But again, you're adding yet another weird, the teleporter. Like, where, where's
I
that
know.
go? It was hard to follow what the world is capable of and what the things are doing.
Yeah, them
That's a good
using that
point.
though to send the bomb up into to teleport the bomb up into the spaceship. That was a pretty great ending.
That's true. So Kurt Russell, because his kid is dead, he's like, we learn that his intent is for this to be a suicide mission. He is
Yeah,
not intending
right.
on
Yeah.
coming back with everyone else. But that's not what happens. And to your point, Eric, about the nerdy guy getting the girl, when I watched this, when they were all like kind of like congregating, getting ready to go back, I was like, oh, he's going to bring the girl back with him. But he stays.
He
Why
stays.
would you want to stay in an ancient civilization?
I could for that character, I feel like maybe it makes sense because he was like an Egypt nerd.
Yeah. And he never fit in, right? They make a big point of saying how little he fit in the first time we see him when he's actually figured
Scoffed
out that the
at.
pyramids, right, exactly. And so, yeah, I think they were trying to say that he actually fit in better in this other world.
Maybe.
Yeah, you're right. No,
I also
it
feel
was
like-
better.
Yeah,
I
for him.
I feel like that I didn't see that coming. I assumed he was
Mm.
going to bring the girl with him.
I could see a scenario in like a Jurassic Park or something where the dinosaur scientist wanted to stay with the dinosaurs and like do more
Mm.
research, learn
Mhm.
more. Because in theory, he could come back anytime he wanted, right? Like now that he knows how to use the thing. I feel like this was a ready-made like franchise. Like it was
Mm.
begging for a sequel that never really came, but
Yeah, and in fact,
we
they
don't
were-
know he was going to be there forever,
Yeah.
I guess.
True.
Dean Devlin was trying to get a sequel
Mhm.
off the ground forever, and they couldn't get the rights figured out. And then ultimately, Showtime moved ahead and made Stargate SG-1. And Devlin is famously completely disavowed that show, saying that is
Okay.
not the direction that he would have taken the story.
Is that
which
the
I
one
thought
with
was interesting.
MacGyver?
It is the one with
Yeah.
MacGyver, yeah.
Was
Yeah,
it like
yeah.
a Star Trek? Every episode was a
Yep.
different, they would use it to go to some different place.
Yeah, in the beginning, and then there was some sort of an overarching narrative that spun into it in the later seasons. And then there was like all these spin-off shows like Stargate Atlantis and Stargate
Mhm.
Universe. It was a huge geek thing. Now,
I never watched any of that.
yeah, I say I'm not a huge fan of it, but then I know an awful lot about it. No,
You guys
I mean, it
haven't
was,
seen the show, or Kevin, you haven't seen any of them.
I've never seen anything but
Yeah.
this movie. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you never watch the show though?
I watched the show for a couple of seasons, drifted
Okay.
away, and then
It has a huge following.
It
though.
does. Yeah, it's a cult classic.
Mhm.
In the veins of Farscape or Babylon 5.
Mm.
It never really quite reached Star Trek level, but yeah, I mean, it is. You'll still see people cosplaying as Stargate SG-1 characters.
It did seem like a lot of the characters, from what I was reading, did kind of cross over, and then there were things that we learned that were true, like what the name of the planet was and
Mhm.
different things like that that the movie doesn't tell us.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they don't really touch on any of that, do they?
No, they don't. But I will say that they did Shouty Dirty, the James Spader's love interest character. In the pilot episode, she is captured by the new bad guys and implanted with a parasite monster, which becomes sort of the central crux of the show. And we only see her once or twice again after that point. They immediately just sacrifice her to these gods,
no.
these like weird parasite lizard gods.
It was the same actress.
I think it was the same actress. I think she was the only one who came back
Oh.
for the TV show. No one else reprised their role.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have a question about, were we supposed to think that when they were showing the scenes of them in a building, that was the pyramid? That was the pyramid?
Yeah.
That they were
it wasn't,
inside
that was
the
never clear to
pyramid?
me. Yeah. If like it was the lobby of the pyramid or if that was supposed
Yeah,
to be
it
in
looked
the
like a different
pyramid.
building.
Right.
It appeared
Oh,
as
wait,
though it
you-
was a different stone building.
Like when they first came out of the Stargate, like those scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they were like he said, they were in the vestibule.
Yeah.
They were-
Vestibule of the pyramid.
They were in the waiting room of the pyramid.
Because
Yeah,
then when
I
they
think so.
showed it, they showed it that separately. Like that building, they had shots of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
I
was
see what you mean.
separate from
The bit that they built, yeah, I think it was attached to the pyramid, but sand had like
Oh, okay.
dunes had sort of come up on it. But yeah, I think it was supposed to be the entrance to the pyramid.
I feel
Yeah.
like they could have made that far clearer.
Well, that was they built that for real. I think I was watching the director's commentary before we started, and they said they built like this 7-story tall facade in the desert,
Oh,
but then the actual pyramid itself was an effect shot like a digital or
A
matte painting or
yeah.
something like that. Yeah, it was a pretty big production. I thought like a huge cast of extras and things like that. They don't really do anymore in movies.
that is true. However, a lot what we assume are extras were mannequins.
Oh,
Because it's cheaper.
Oh, you ruined
Yeah, of all the villagers. Yeah.
it. Next, you're going
Sorry.
to tell me that wasn't a real creature.
Yeah,
The,
exactly.
the desert horse thing.
You mean they didn't actually film on a different planet? Whoa.
It was cool. I liked the shots of the pyramid with the 3 moons. I really did like that. It was like a cool shot. One of my favorite scenes is actually the smoking scene with the kid and Kurt Russell.
Oh, yeah.
The kid wants to be just like Kurt Russell, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so Kurt is smoking Marlboro Reds and he's showing this kid his lighter. It was like a Zippo lighter. And the kid, I mean, this is like an ancient culture. They don't.
Oh, that's
have-
magic, right? That's
Yeah.
magic for them. Yeah.
So then he sees the pack of cigarettes and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna take one." And then Kurt all coolly takes this big drag, and he's
Yeah.
and the kid, of course, he's like, "Oh my god," he can't. I loved that scene that
It was
the
a
kid
great
with
scene.
Kurt.
Yeah. That was the one right before the kid then tried to pick up his gun to look at
Yes.
it, and
Yeah.
Kurt sort of smacked it out of his hand. Yeah.
Mhm. And then scared him.
Yeah.
But so I love also then later the kids come to the rescue with all these machine guns. So I mean,
I know it was good. We should have given them guns earlier.
Again, you're taking the wrong lessons away from this movie.
I don't know how a lighter works, but a machine gun, no problemo.
That was another great scene, though. The whole the bus breaking them out and freeing them or whatever was a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm a sucker for the adventure action stuff too.
Yeah. Everything you're saying, I agree with on a fundamental level, but yeah, I give it a pass just because.
Yeah.
I mean, I will never forget 13-year-old me watching it for the first time in theaters.
Mind blowing in '94.
I feel like, okay, so when I did the Big Trouble in Little China episode, it was my very first episode. That and Overboard are my two, like, those are my Kurt movies. Those are my two favorites.
Overboard,
Oh, yeah.
great movie. Yeah.
So I grew up watching Big Trouble in Little China. It is a wackadoo movie. It makes
Oh yeah,
no
Amazing.
sense, but it's spectacular.
it is.
And Ryan Rebalkin was
Yeah,
my guest,
Ryan.
and he had never seen it as a child.
Oh,
So he was
It's a
bringing
shame.
up I know, but he was bringing up, I feel like I'm the Ryan out watching it for the first time as an adult. He was bringing up things. He was like, "What is going on here? What am I watching?" And I'm like, no. You just go with it. Don't worry about it.
that was a tough. Big Trouble in Little China would be a tough one for an adult
Mm-hmm.
human to watch in like 2020
In 2020, yeah.
or whatever. For the first time, you'd be like, "This movie,
Yeah,
is weird."
I feel like when it came out in the 80s, people were just totally going along with it.
That
you
was one of the
know?
very early 6 Degrees of Schwarzeneggers was Big Trouble in Little China. And yeah, they thought that this was going to be like an Indiana Jones type of franchise when they made that movie.
Really?
Well, they
Yes.
didn't know how to like market or describe what it was, and so it bombed,
Yeah.
didn't it? I feel
Yeah.
like.
I think it
I'm
was.
sure it did, but it was one that like when I was a tiny kid, that was one that a friend of mine in the neighborhood had on VHS. And we
It's
would
now
watch it once a
lauded.
week for sure.
Yeah, cult.
Yeah, it's an
Cult.
absolute cult classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
great. And every Asian working like actor back then is in that movie. Like
Yep.
the Al Leongs and
Yeah.
Jeff Amatos of the world, like all the awesome stuntmen are all in that movie. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's great.
Yeah, James Hong as Lopez.
The ever brilliant James Hong.
Just had a birthday and finally got his star on the Hollywood
Yeah.
Walk
That's
of
right.
Fame.
Yes. Thank you for bringing
Yeah.
that up.
And he's been in more movies than any other actor in the history of movies and television.
I mean, in recent memory, his role as the dad in Everything Everywhere All at Once was just
yeah,
amazing.
he's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
He's a treasure. I will be
he-
so sad when like I
Yeah.
hear that he's passed.
He's
Yeah,
like
I hope-
90, isn't he?
Yeah, it just turned 90.
Yeah, he's up there. He was also in Tango and Cash.
Yeah, he was
Let's
in
not
Tango and Cash.
forget.
Yep. Yeah. An episode of Seinfeld.
Yeah, he was. He was
Been in-
Seinfeld at the Chinese
Yeah,
restaurant.
the
His
restaurant,
He's
yeah.
been in everything. He does. He
Mhm.
has 300 or 400
Yeah.
credits.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Because he
lot.
goes back to the 50s or something.
Yeah, oh,
like
yeah,
that.
he
Yeah,
did.
the 40s.
I guess
yeah.
if he's in his 90s, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to be okay. Maybe it was just me, but I literally, when I was watching this, I had to look up whether Raw was a boy or a girl.
The actor.
Just me? Like,
No, it's not
no,
just
the
you. And in
character,
fact,
the character.
yeah,
Oh.
they intentionally made the costuming and the makeup extremely androgynous
Yes.
because the idea was is that this ancient alien possessed this human, and this alien wasn't really male or female. So they wanted to emphasize the androgyny, which is why
Well, he took over his body when he was like 14 or
Yeah,
It
when
was
he
a
was really
boy. He
young,
took
he
over
was
a
sort of like
boy. But then I was like,
I
is
think that's why they
pretty.
cast. I feel like that's why they cast that actor though, is because
Yeah.
that actor sort of has the androgynous thing.
Yes.
going.
Yeah, they definitely wanted to emphasize that. Yeah.
it's true. But I was kind of confused because I'm like, is he trying to seduce Kurt Russell?
I feel like if it had to have a gender, I feel like it was male, probably.
It definitely is.
But the
Raw.
alien, like to Eric's point, the alien being inside of him aliens may not have genders, for all we know.
Correct. But the alien took over a boy, the
Right,
body
yeah.
of a
Yeah,
boy.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and it doesn't matter. I don't know why I was like, oh, he's really pretty and being sensual to
He
Kurt.
was, yeah. Yeah, he was. It
Yeah,
was.
it was. Yeah.
yeah.
They were.
Yeah.
He was. Yeah. But yeah,
Mhm.
I think ultimately it was a male, but yeah, they definitely played up the androgyny to emphasize sort of the outside of the human space that the character existed in.
What else do you guys have for me to try and sell me on this movie?
Explosions?
Okay.
Don't make me fuzz.
I'm not going to let that go.
The only note I have left that I really want to talk about is a beef with the movie that I have, which is just how they
Oh.
wrecked Kurt Russell's hair.
Oh.
I feel like for me, that hair, like Kurt Russell's hair is a national treasure.
It is, yes.
And it was like, like Sam Malone, Ted
Yeah.
Danson's hair in Cheers or
Yeah,
whatever. Like
yeah,
it was
yeah.
and I feel like they must have sent him in with the barber and he said, just ruin me. He's like, it's the flattest flat top
I mean,
that's ever existed.
straight up Guile level from Street Fighter.
But on the director's commentary, they said that one of them said they read a list of the stupidest movie decisions ever made, and on the list was Kurt Russell's hair in Stargate, which I can agree with because
That is so funny because all of the things, and yes, I love me some Kurt Russell, luscious. He's got a great head of hair, and I've talked about that Kurt and Patrick are the only guys that can pull off a mullet, and it's a whole thing. but I didn't have a problem with it because for two reasons. He looks hot in his military getup.
hair.
In that beret. He looks hot. And two, because he does have good hair, it'll grow back. Like he can just grow back.
That's true. There's nothing to hide when you cut it short like that.
No,
so yeah,
he's not
lucky man, good genetics.
Yeah.
On Kurt Russell.
I'll be honest, like every critique you brought up is 100% valid. There's not a
Yeah.
single thing that I would go, no, but you think about it this way, right? Like everything you said is totally accurate.
And I'm
But
not
there's
trying
not-
to like, I fully get that, boy, this is not a movie made for me. Like, I totally recognize that too.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think it if you're a fan of that whole sci-fi adventure stuff, this is checks all the boxes of what you're kind of
Yeah.
looking for.
Yeah.
But at the time, it felt really original, and I think the effects for the time were
Mhm.
really something that people hadn't seen before as well.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, and you
yeah,
guys
it
are
just
bringing up
worked
good
for me.
points.
I mean, the set design was phenomenal and the costuming was phenomenal.
True.
And, there were moments of actual character pathos. For instance, the scene with the lighter and the kid.
Mhm.
And then, I mentioned the scene where he learns the dialect and that's how they find the solution.
Yeah.
There were isolated scenes that actually were, I found really effective in terms of the overall sort of world that they were building. But yeah, I mean, the kids learning magically how to use guns and not be afraid of them. And
Did they have a single soldier with them to help them with the guns. I don't know that they did, to
Probably.
be honest.
I don't know. I think most of them were kidnapped by Raw at that
I
point.
thought so too.
Yeah, and
They
thrown
figured
in
it out.
thrown in the random pool, which they don't really ever.
That was weird. They dumped him in a pool of water.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, good
great
point. I kind
choice.
of forgot about that. There's so much. I guess for me, it was like I wasn't invested in anybody.
Sure.
Maybe it was like part of. I didn't
That's the
care about anyone.
that's the issue when you have dueling leading men, like, because I don't know that either one was above the other ones in terms of a more important character. So then it becomes an ensemble piece, and it's hard to really get too invested in any of them. Maybe.
Yeah, and I just don't think either Emmerich or Devlin were good enough writers to write a strong enough ensemble movie. I mean, say what you will about where he is now, but for a while, Joss Whedon was the master of ensemble writing, and I think taking characters of those calibers, if you would put that in Joss Whedon's hand, you could have had both of them really fully fleshed out, had a much better relationship between the two of them, right?
Yeah, they had like minor arcs, right? But there weren't like
Yeah.
huge character arcs
Yep.
in the movie where they made a real like journey.
Yeah.
Although I guess in the end, Kurt Russell wasn't suicidal anymore.
I guess not magically, it's all cured.
That was why they selected him for the mission, I guess, is because he was sort of burned out and
Yeah.
They
all that, it was-
reactivated him.
Yeah. I gave him a new.
maybe he went
new
home
lease
and
on-
cranked out another kid or something. We don't know. We never got that.
Maybe he's the one who became the ancient aliens guy.
Oh, yes, the conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, the conspiracy
Yeah.
theorist.
I have
I don't know.
one final logic question. For
Okay,
you.
ask away. I probably won't have an answer.
Okay, so there is a sarcophagus that, if I'm understanding correctly, this is where Ra emerges, like his alien feature, like alien self emerges, and he is now like Ra. But
Yeah.
somehow, so the sarcophagus apparently also has healing abilities. It brings people back to life, including both Jackson and his lady.
Right.
But why did Ra? So Ra kills Jackson, or his people do, but then he puts him in the sarcophagus to get healed. What's that?
Oh, yeah.
Nope. No, I have no answer for that. It made absolutely zero sense other than to justify him putting his girlfriend in
there
the last
later.
scene.
Yeah.
That was the only reason. There was no reason for that.
So we do a lot of on 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger. We do a lot of movie apologizing, trying to figure out, trying to make things make sense.
Yeah, on that
And
type
I
of
want,
movie, you
I want if
definitely
they
have.
maybe Ra wanted to have a conversation with this guy who seemed to be like the brain to hear what's going on back on Earth, and this seemed like the smart guy who understood the language, perhaps.
But he wanted
I
to kill him
think-
as well. And so, yeah.
But well, he was going to kill him afterwards, right?
Okay.
That was a weird moment when he brought him back and then he told him, "I'm going to have you kill all your friends, and then I'm going to kill you." Because then it seems like, well, at that
Yeah.
point, what is his incentive to go along with this
Right, exactly.
plan? But I do like the sarcophagus thing. I think was like that's why he selected the human race, right? Because he had the technology to fix these bodies that he could live forever in a human body by going in his sarcophagus. It was like what's the Star Wars thing? The water
Back to tank?
yeah, it's like the tank in Star Wars that
Yeah.
would heal people or whatever. So I think that's why he chose the human race. And then maybe
Okay.
why he had all those kids around were like, if he needed a new body to go into, he'd select the next generation or something.
Oh.
I suspect that that's true. Yeah. Yeah, it
Or
definitely.
raising new like henchmen, new goons.
Yeah, maybe he is. Yeah, it could be a twofer. 2-for-1. A BOGO. Buy one, get one free.
BOGO. Oh, that's awesome. We were talking about the model shots and that this was in Yuma, Arizona. That is
Yeah.
apparently where Rambo 3 was also filmed.
I
Oh,
read that.
interesting.
Because doesn't one of these guys associated with the movie Devlin or the other guy, I think he had something to do with Rambo 3. I know So the producer of the movie is Mario Casar, who was the producer of the original Rambo trilogy.
Mm.
Yes.
But he also
Yes.
did a lot of 80s and 90s action movies. Terminator 2 was his, and Universal Soldier and Cliffhanger. So he was like a big action guy. So maybe he had the connections in Yuma to film
does
there
make
or whatever.
sense.
It was Arizona standing in for Afghanistan. And
Deserty.
look,
I
kind of
mean,
worked. It kind of worked
yeah.
though. No one knows what Afghanistan looks like.
It's all in that same general area, Egypt, Afghanistan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, lots of deserts in that region. So, and why fly all the way to the other side of the world when you can just go to Utah or Arizona?
Arizona, which is
Yeah.
like kind of close to LA in the scheme of
Yeah,
things.
in the grand scheme of things.
That's true.
Yeah.
This movie apparently was the first to have an official website. 1994.
What?
That's rad.
I love it. I'm 100% on board
That's
with
the
that.
kind of trivia I'm here for.
Was there anything like
Mhm.
fancy or interesting about it, or was it just like basic HTML?
It was GeoCities.
Yeah, it was
If
just
you can imagine what websites looked like in the mid
I know.
90s,
Like flying toasters or
yeah,
yeah.
under construction. Every single thing had the under construction man and the yield sign. Olivia,
do the dial-up sound, right? That was dial-up internet.
Please insert that in. That's one of my favorite sound effects.
was the URL www.geocities.com/stargate.movie?
Absolutely.
That's a
I
fun-
guess, did you guys know that Hasbro
I did.
released
Yeah, I did know the
figures?
action figure.
I did not know about that. It was a
That's,
good
like,
year for action
shocking.
movies, though. There was a lot of cool stuff out in '94.
I guess.
True Lies and Speed were out. That was an awesome summer for action stuff.
Ooh, yeah. I don't know why. I was like, wow, they did action figures for this movie?
I feel
Again,
like this should have been a franchise, right? There was no
it was
reason for there not to
supposed
be more
I
movies.
guess.
It was. Yeah, they wanted to make
Like
more.
a trilogy, supposedly.
Absolutely. It seemed like tailor made for that. Like
It does. They needed better writing, though. I don't know, man.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Although these guys went on and did Independence Day, which was like one of the biggest probably money makers of the '90s.
That's true.
Again, not renowned for its story.
No, you weren't going there to see like great writing and Shakespearean performance.
Although, I mean, the way Bill Pullman delivered that speech in Independence Day.
Oh, I forgot he was the president, wasn't he?
Yeah.
You know, Jeff Goldblum could have been amazing in the James Spader character in this movie as well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But he had just done that same character, I feel like, in Jurassic Park. So maybe
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
why I'm
too-
done.
Well, I feel like he was probably worried about being typecast because he played also sort of the science nerd in The Fly, as well,
yeah,
right?
he's got that going for him, and he's also a giant. Like he's
Oh,
huge.
yeah.
He probably would make Kurt Russell look really short, and that'd be
Jeff Goldblum he's a gem. I like him a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
He's a great actor. I don't know if you've ever seen him in Portlandia, where he's basically just doing caricatures of himself. There's a sketch where he runs a knot shop. Like, you go in and
Like
you
rope
buy
knots?
pre-knotted lengths of yarn.
Oh my god. I haven't seen Portlandia.
Oh, I lived in
Recommend?
Seattle for almost 20 years. And, Seattle is like a wealthier version of Portland, but it's
Mhm.
not, Portland's not far away.
Yeah.
And so when you go to Portland and you watch Portland, you're like, no, this is accurate. This is more of a documentary than a sketch show.
Oh, really?
funny.
Oh, I love that. That's funny. A few other little bits of trivia, you guys. So the planet so you might know this, Eric, in the Stargate series, although the planet visited is never referred to by name, the spin-off TV series would reveal that the planet's name is Abydos.
Abydos.
Okay.
Abydos.
That's correct. And that was established before the series. As a child, I love the movie so much. I read the novelization spin-off sequel.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
And
You were into
Nerd.
I was into it when I was a kid.
Nerd alert.
And indeed. And most of those books take place on the planet. And in those books, they call it Abydos.
I thought you were going to say it was called Dune because the planet really has the similar vibe to Arrakis from Dune.
That is true.
Yeah, it's like just desert world, whatever. But that's a sci-fi staple, though. Your desert planet, your water planet.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't really realize that since I'm not a sci-fi
Oh yeah,
person.
you're not into like gravitate to the sci-fi.
Definitely not. I did like that they called it, though, the Callium Galaxy in the movie.
Is that a real thing?
I don't know.
I didn't
But in
Google it
the-
either.
But yeah, it's cool that they actually gave it a
Yeah,
kind of
a galaxy
temporal,
name.
I mean, not a temporal, but a spatial. Yeah.
That was another beef I had with the movie, though, is it was on the far side of the universe. And then, but
Yeah.
yet they were getting pictures back like in real time. And I was like, oh, if that's like hundreds of millions of light years away, it would take hundreds of millions of years for a picture to get back to Earth.
Kevin,
Yeah,
let me
they-
explain to you how wormholes
Wormhole.
work.
I was like, that's the whole
Oh,
deal with the wormhole.
was it going through the Stargate? The signal was through the
Yeah.
Stargate? Okay,
That's what I'm
fair.
assuming.
Because they
yeah.
were
Yeah,
like
let's go with
radioing
that.
back, weren't they? Like
But I don't know how that could work. But like you said, maybe the signal comes through the Stargate and that's how it got there
Yeah.
quick. Otherwise, it would take years, hundreds of millions of years.
I actually
Yeah.
feel like that does make sense. I'm like, yeah, it was going through the wormhole
Okay,
thing.
yeah, I'm here for it. I want to forgive these movies.
For an excuse.
Okay. A couple of castings.
Mhm.
I forgot to look up who Sir John Gielgud is. Do you guys know who he is?
I do know who Sir John Gielgud is, or at least I recognize the name.
I don't. He's Googling or
I'm
But it's a
Googling
Sir.
right now.
He's a Sir, and he was on the list to play Raw, apparently.
Oh, interesting.
I was
yeah,
gonna
he's
look
a
up who
British
that
actor.
was. Which
oh,
makes
so
sense.
he's not in the movie, but he was on the.
He was
He's an older.
considered.
He would have been an older guy.
Yeah.
I mean, unless he is a Sir now, but he wasn't then.
Yeah.
I mean, he definitely, I think he got that title later in life after he was pretty well
Yeah.
established.
Okay.
But yeah, he's a bit of a character actor, at least overall in the larger Hollywood scene. But he was a huge television actor especially in Great Britain.
Okay.
Does he have an Egyptian look to him?
No, generic British white guy.
Oh,
yeah, that's strange that
interesting.
he was on the
Yeah.
list.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also interesting to me that they would be wavering between casting someone really young, as this Jay
Mhm.
Davidson seems young,
Mhm.
or casting someone who's like in his 50s.
I mean, I think they went with the right direction with him.
I think the young thing was a good choice. Yeah.
Yeah, they would have had to change who he took over, but yeah, I agree.
If you were an alien who was looking to take over a body, I think you'd rather hop into like a 20-year-old guy rather
For
than
sure.
a 50-year-old guy's body.
Absolutely.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Any guesses for who was actually offered the role of Dr. Daniel Jackson but turned it down?
Oh,
He's nerdy. He's known for being nerdy. I'll give you that
Okay.
hint.
Nerdy in the early 90s.
I'm going to say Jim Carrey.
No, he's
No,
not
that'd be
nerdy.
awesome though. No, that would have been a whole different movie.
It would have been very
I
different.
have no guesses. I gotta know.
Rick Moranis.
Oh, I did
Oh.
read that. That would have been extra weird.
I
That would
wasn't.
have been a bad choice.
I mean, character, comedy, actor. I mean, I was in the same ballpark.
I don't.
Was
Yeah.
it right
Yeah,
field,
you're
not
right.
left field?
You're right. I guess I just don't see Jim Carrey as being like nerdy.
No, that's true. He's not nerdy. He's goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could never see Rick Moranis
No.
in this. That'd be strange.
I like
I'm
him.
glad
though.
they went
He's
with
a good
Spader.
actor.
Someone with a little bit of sex appeal.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. They did make the right choice. But so he turned it. So Moranis, they offered it to him, but he turned it down to play. What he did do instead was the Flintstones movie. And
The little and was he a Little Giant?
Yeah,
too?
Little Giants. Little Giants.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Which you mentioned earlier, I was
Yeah.
out like at the same time. Yeah, you got to
Oh.
make your choices:
Oh,
Stargate or
funny.
Little Giants.
Oh,
Yep.
That's
Honey, I
awesome.
Shrunk the Kids, man. I love, yeah.
That's an all timer.
yeah.
I was big on
that's
that.
a classic. I will never forget them using the carrot and the stick to ride the ant around the backyard.
Absolutely.
When I was a kid, I wanted to do that so much.
Mhm.
I have a
Same.
picture of me and my sisters at Disney or wherever on the ant. They had a Honey I Shrunk the Kids world, and they had a giant ant that you could get on for photos and stuff like that.
Oh,
They
that's
did?
so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good. That was a
Yeah.
good franchise for sure.
and him in Ghostbusters is absolutely
Oh,
a
yeah.
killer.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, that's I can't see him in a movie like this though.
I agree. Do you guys have any
It-
closing thoughts on Stargate?
I will say, all things considered, I mean, if you're into that kind of thing, if you're into that kind of genre, and you're looking for a bit of a throwback to the sort of waning years of the old school blockbuster movies, I think you could do a lot worse than Stargate. I think it's not as grand in scope as Independence Day
Mhm.
was, and it ended up being a little bit more grounded as a result. I mean,
I would rather. I
Mhm.
prefer. I think this movie is better than Independence Day personally, as
Yeah.
a viewing experience or as a quality film.
Yeah,
Independence Day was more like about look how big of a
Yeah.
blockbuster this is
yeah.
to me. But yeah,
So I mean, I think if you're into that kind of thing and you you want to see a movie that was sort of at the tail end of that whole era, you could do a lot worse than Stargate, in my opinion.
Yeah, I
Okay.
would advise anyone who's into sci-fi, if you haven't seen this movie, it's definitely worth checking out. If you're a Kurt Russell guy
Oh, yeah.
or fan, I guess it's worth checking out as well. Yeah, I have nothing bad really to say about it. In the grand scheme of things, like it's better than most of what comes out today. So yeah,
I will give you
check it out.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you guys bring up valid points, and I'm giving it a hard time.
But no,
But-
justifiably so. Like I said, everything you said is like, yeah, no, that's true.
Rank it on a 10-point scale then.
Okay, yeah.
Or how do you
Ooh.
rank your movies?
Well, I don't typically on Retromade give my
Yeah.
ranking, but like okay, so if 5 is average, 10 is the best you can
The
be,
best thing ever. Yeah.
like a 3.5.
Wow.
Okay,
All right.
below
Okay.
average. Okay.
Below
Okay.
average.
That's fair. That's
Yeah,
fair.
it just was
That's
not
great.
for me. Like I said, Egypt is really fascinating, and so I was like, oh well, if you add Kurt to the mix,
Of course.
I mean, like, how
What
can
could
you
go
go
wrong?
wrong? But it did go wrong for me. Just
Okay,
like
okay.
not for me.
That's fair.
But Kevin,
Not-
Eric, you guys were the best. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, yes.
talking
We
about
want to
this.
have you on our podcast sometime soon. You're
I'd
a
be
you're a
happy to.
Stallone fan above all, as in terms of action heroes.
Yes, but
Okay.
I like Van Damme. I like Dolph. I
Okay.
like Schwarzenegger.
We'll be back with some
Yeah.
options for you because we'd love to
Yeah.
have you on, pick your brain. Have you seen all of those movies, or are there a lot that you haven't even
There's
seen?
probably plenty that I haven't seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Cool.
yeah, remind us about 6 Degrees. Where should we go to
Yeah.
find
Tell them
it?
about their socials.
Yeah. So again, we're at the number 6 DOS podcast, 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger podcast. It's the same thing for Facebook, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Facebook, Instagram, SoundCloud.
SoundCloud is where you can listen to the podcast.
You can find us on Spotify.
It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's on it's basically on anything that SoundCloud distributes to, you're going to find it on.
And then we all land on the Last of the Action Heroes podcast network as well, which Ryan runs and which several of your shows I think are on, or you're part of several shows there.
Well, so I'm on the Rocky like one more round, and then I
Okay.
guest on a couple from time to time. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are really the best places. We post about like what movies we're going to be doing and sort of any updates there, and mostly just silly meme stuff. It's just to entertain ourselves more than anything else. But it,
Yeah.
we just want to keep people updated about what we're
Yeah.
doing.
So at the time this episode will come out, I think we will have had a series on Action Jackson, a little look back at Carl Weathers, which is a
Oh.
crazy movie.
I
If you haven't
can't
seen Action
wait.
Jackson, check that out.
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, we did
Sure.
Red Dawn, Conan the Destroyer, and Face Off recently.
Mhm.
So we're a little all over the place. But yeah, we always come back to Arnold in the end.
Yeah.
He's our North Star.
I like
always
that.
a
No,
North
I'm a big
Star.
fan. I listen to it all. I love it.
Okay,
you.
great.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
And thank you all for listening or watching. Don't forget to share the nostalgia. Share Retromade so more nerds like us can join the party. Until next time, be kind. Rewind.